Welcome to the Chronically Will podcast, where we have real conversations with community that needs to be heard. On today's episode, I have the privilege, amazing honor of speaking to one Kyle Banks. Kyle Banks is someone I see frequently in not only the diabetes online community space, but just in chronic health, mental health spaces all around. He's putting in the footwork, the power that needs to be so that we can have sustainable, equitable growth, not only change, but growth in this space that we have. Kyle, I truly thank you for joining me on the Chronically Will podcast. Could you give our audience a summary of who you are?
For sure. Well, thanks for that intro, man. Really moved by that, your kind words. Kyle Banks, as you shared, I am a founder and CEO of the Kyle Cares Foundation, where our focus is improved health outcomes for people of color living with type 1 diabetes. We also are starting to focus a bit on type 2 diabetes because we're doing a lot of work these days with the public school systems, and are currently running a pilot program in New York where there are a lot of kids of color living with type 2 diabetes as well and struggling. So starting to establish programs around that as well, but just engaging, our community about how to live healthy lives, even with type 1 diabetes, type 2 diabetes, but how to just focus on living well and not developing and experiencing the horrible complications that unfortunately so many people in our community are dealing with.
And I'm truly appreciative of those things that you're doing, the work you're putting in, again, because when you mention things such as living healthy or healthier lifestyles, many people don't truly understand what that entails, like considering people's background, family history. A lot of us feel as though even without changing our diets, exercise routines, all of those things, activity levels, that we are living this great, immaculate life, considering, again, family history and background.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is the truth. I know in my family, I have a huge family, and I use them as a gauge to how to share these ideas with people because they're also very stubborn and they like the things they like, and change is difficult. So, it's been great for me having that tough dialogue with them, and just helping me to figure out how do I share this with the public in a way that is not preachy, in a way that is welcoming, and in a way that it will be received. Because if I'm out here sharing and then nobody is listening because of the presentation, well, then that's serving no one. So yeah, my focus is just really presenting it in a way where people can absorb the information, and sort of apply it to their lives as they're going along. People's enlightenment and waking up to the way in what we're putting into our bodies. It happens at different times, and no one is on that same path. So I just want to make sure that people have the information they need to make better decisions.
You've mentioned making things easier for people. I have a question though. How is it helping others as compared to informing family members? Which one do you feel as though is easier, getting your points across to, sharing your perspective and everything?
Helping others. For sure. My family, I'm like, I've been doing this for 5, 6 years now. And
All
my
my life.
family, man, look, I was diagnosed in 2015. And at the time, I was performing in The Lion King. And I was in the best shape of my life. My approach to like nutrition, plant-based diet, and I've all in my entire adult life I've like been conscious of like what I put in my body and how I take care of myself. I've always been like fit and very active. So when I was diagnosed, they were like, see, if it can happen to you, it can happen to anybody, just totally not understanding, how type 1 diabetes works. And um uh so that was their takeaway. We may as well just eat what we want and do what we want. So that went along for a few years, and I heard that. And now finally, I think they're coming around to just understanding how important it is for us to focus on these things, like nutrition and if you're not gonna like not eat, if you're going to eat fast food, just reducing the number of times per week we're stopping in these places, and really understanding what is in the food and how toxic it is and how horrible it is for our bodies. So using those times when you stop in like a fast food place is more like a treat, not like the consistent approach to eating. So, I think a few of my family members have since developed like certain, health issues. And as a result of the work that I'm doing, I see now that they come to me. So even if they may still be expressing like some harshness to like what I'm sharing, I see they come to me now and they're inquisitive and they're asking me questions. So, the turnaround, and I find this even with the general public, that turnaround is it can be slow, but it is happening. I've been working with some families for like 3 and 4 years. It's taken me 2 years to get CGMs on some people. So I'm patient, we're stubborn people. We like to do what we want to do.
Patient but stubborn. Yes, we are. As you said, like we got to keep it in repetition. Keep it going. We can't lean up on anything because we know living with type 1 diabetes, we can't lean up on it ourselves.
Right.
Because just one mishap can lead to the remainder of your days fighting and battling even more.
Exactly.
Keep that repetition going with your family, your loved ones, those who love you most, as I say, because they may not speak about it, but they see it, they hear it.
Most definitely.
You're my brother, and I hear it.
Yes,
I see it. We see each other.
Yeah, I can feel the change happening, and they're expressing it. And even at holidays, I'm seeing how like the select offerings of food is like just slightly moving towards a broader variety of dishes, which is amazing because variety is like the spice of life, especially with nutrition. So.
Right. Fill your palette with different colors.
Yeah.
We have to, I think, like consciously, if sometimes I think about my family, like if they're thinking like, well, I've heard this, like, well, you used to do this, you used to do that. And I said, do you hear what you're saying?
Right.
Used to, like, not in the present, not in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Change is needed. Change is good.
Change is good.
We can adapt to anything. Look at us. Like, we're here. Yeah. We can adapt to anything in any situation with any groups of people, anything.
Yeah. We can. I mean, to your point, I think that's what, being diagnosed with type 1 diabetes has proven to me, that we can adapt. I was also diagnosed with celiac, and I was one who loved bread. And so it's just even having that, being able to removing that from my approach to nutrition, it was so hard. But I mean, now it's like I don't even think about it. I'm like, I don't like the way it makes me feel. So I'm gonna do what I need to do to feel good.
Right. You were once a child, so your parents knew like when you would go from baby food to table food, right? You never
Mhm.
went back to baby food.
Right. Right.
Like, so it's a transition.
Yeah. Yeah. To your point, and to that point, like paying attention to how we feel as related to nutrition when we eat certain foods. That's something that been stressing with my family as well, because I know there are a lot of like gastrointestinal issues with like a lot of people in my family. And we had like a family gathering, and the family pulled up in like this big van because we were traveling, and everybody was like hunched over. And I was like, "What is wrong with y'all?" I was like, "My stomach hurts." I'm like, "Y'all have to figure out like what is causing these issues, just do it. Start with like a journal of what you're eating. Just start paying attention to like what you're putting in your bodies and how it makes you feel, so that you can begin eliminating what is causing these issues for you." So yeah.
Yeah, it's always good to journal, period. But I mean, you're talking to someone who was diagnosed at 20 years young. So when they told me to start journaling, then I was like, like, but I understand it 5, 10, 15, and now 21 years later, the
Yeah.
importance of that. And it's something that I share with others as well, because we know no 2 days living with type 1 diabetes are the same.
Hmm.
But you can get a familiar path going. Like,
Right.
what foods, just like what things stress you. It's all about
Hmm.
hormones and balancing out that lifestyle.
Right. 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 Exactly. We can get there.
We
I
can.
believe I believe in us, and like I said, we are working to just continuously reinforce these messages so that it just becomes a part of like our daily lives.
The message of hope shall forever be there.
Yes, for sure.
I did want to transition and ask you something. Well, first, do you recall how I first came about you?
I think you heard a podcast that I was on. And then we were communicating on social media for a while. Then we finally got connected. So is that sort of accurate?
100%. So yes, I did hear you on a podcast, and ahead of maybe 2017, 2018-ish, I never saw or even heard of another person of color, another black man living with type 1 diabetes.
Wow.
I felt like I was the only one for
Wow.
14, 15 years,
That's
seriously.
that's wild.
And I remember hearing you on this podcast and hearing your journey about being on Broadway with the Lion King and touring. And I said, I'm going to share this with others because by profession, like I'm a media literacy educator, and I have been
Hmm.
for the last decade plus. And often you hear people say things like, I can't do this. I'm incapable of doing this because of certain different lived experiences and background. But
Yeah.
knowing that you were diagnosed while a part of this immaculate like show, this performance, like theatrical, like you were doing it all while learning diabetes, learning the carb counts, the insulin, all of those things. And if you can do it, Kyler cares. Others can as well.
Yes.
You actually stepped forward, and yes, you showed me that.
Wow. Well, I mean, wow. That is. I mean, that's a lot. That's a lot to take in. I mean, I'm glad that you got that from my story. I know when I did that podcast, I was really struggling and still figuring it out. And I mean, there were times when, like during the show, because I mean, once before I got diagnosed, or when the onset of like the disease started happening, it happened so fast, like over the course of 3, 4 weeks. Um, and then once I, was properly diagnosed and started using insulin, like the show just became a nightmare because I was crashing every night, and like the lows were so intense. Even after the show, like hours after the show, I'd still be crashing. And so just having to figure all of that out and all of the intricate things that go into management and all of the things that diabetes affect in life and all the things that in life that affect it, it was it was a crazy time. But I'm glad I was in that environment because it forced me to figure it out. I mean, had I not been doing that, I probably would still be like walking around just, I don't know, not feeling the urgency to just get a plan together. So I really appreciate like the intensity of that situation and how it's helped me be where I am today.
But I've actually seen Lion King a few times on Broadway. I'm trying to remember what years. I'm not even sure, but I saw it a few times. I saw it once at the Kimmel Center in Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm.
Were you a part of that at all?
I have played at the Kimmel Center before.
Okay.
Yes.
I think it may have been twice there, but I have seen it twice.
Yes.
And just to see all of the work that goes into it, I'm pretty sure there's many different nuances, push and pulls, tugs, and
Yes.
today we see with care and management, with people able to follow each other's glucose levels, that someone maybe backstage is like, Kyle, I got like slow down like a bit. But then at that time, being newly diagnosed, you were, like many of us, forced into a situation that you didn't ask for. You didn't know was coming about, but once you got there, you put on that cape that we all put on and said, nothing is going to stop me, nothing at all. And I was just looking at your notes and thinking about something you mentioned early on about how you're working with New York City Public Schools.
Mm-hmm.
And I have many friends in New York City, and I know a lot of, like, there's so many different things going on with public schools in general, especially in predominantly locations with disenfranchised or marginalized communities. And you're actually stepping in to engage with people on living with diabetes, because as you said, there's a lot of children being diagnosed with even type 2 diabetes.
Yeah. In New York City Public Schools, there are 2,000 kids living with type 1 and another 500 that they suspect are living with type 2. We're doing an analysis of the school system now because we think that it's even more kids, especially with like the influx of kids that have been pushed into the school system because of the border crisis. So yeah, and I mean, the kids in the outer boroughs are really struggling. I mean, we're hearing some really awful stories about like what students and families are experiencing. Um, even outside of management of diabetes and their inability to properly manage for a number of reasons, they're also having to deal with, extenuating life circumstances that impact their ability to manage, like housing insecurity and food insecurity and not having, proper health insurance. We even had, it's just the most god awful experience where a child passed away a few weeks ago. And so, just it has been an extremely eye-opening year. This is a pilot program that we've established with New York City Public Schools that we're really excited about. Because New York City Public Schools is the largest school system in the country. It's one of the most diverse. So it's a great place to just gauge like the impact of our services on families. And we're also talking with a number of other school systems around the country about bringing the program to their cities as well, like Detroit and Orlando and Los Angeles. So, this is a program that we want to scale and grow and just be able to, it's an amazing way working with schools in this way. It's an amazing way to just connect with thousands of families. So we're excited about it. And just to share like what the program is, we're offering, it's called Project 31, and through it, we're offering culturally relevant diabetes education. Like I said, New York City is extremely diverse, so we want to make sure that people can actually understand, what is being shared and that it's applicable to their lives and to the ways in which they engage with their families. So culturally relevant educational programming, access to healthcare, because we have connections to many of the pediatric providers in the city, like Montefiore in the Bronx and Naomi Berry Pediatric Endocrine Center through Columbia University, NYU Ped Center, and all throughout Queens and Brooklyn. We have connections to providers that we can connect families to that don't have access to help to a provider. Many of the students are the school nurses, like their access to healthcare, which is wild. So just making sure the kids have access to care, also establishing peer-to-peer and caregiver-to-caregiver support. So we have a number of like in-person events where that help just nurture those connections, because like you shared, your own personal experience, many of the kids that are living with type 1 are not connected to other kids living with the disease. So, and we also know like how that impacts their ability to just figure things out. Those connections are so important. And then the caregiver to caregiver, just making sure the parents are connected so that they can share information or just support each other, like for families that are going through some of these intense life experiences, families can support one another through that as well. In addition to the services that, we're working to provide. So yeah, it's a pretty robust program, and we're looking to begin connecting with families this coming January. Right now, we've been just flushing out what the school system, what the program is, with the Department of Education and the Department of Health. And we're finally at the point where we're ready to begin connecting with the families.
Kyle Banks and Kyler Cares, you are the connection. I took a note down here about, because you mentioned, I was like taking notes of how many times you kept talking about connecting with people. And I just said, yes. I said, at the same time, I was like, I wonder how you as an individual that's living with type 1 diabetes, how are you able to stay so grounded, physically, mentally, because we do know that, like, this is a burden, this condition we live with.
Hmm.
We do know that sometimes we can go full throttle, 100%. And then
Yes.
sometimes that 100% is broken down into like 33% here, 33% there, 33% and a little 1% in the corner.
Hmm.
So yeah, how do you stay so grounded?
Honestly, I know what it's like to struggle with this disease, both mentally and just physically. Like I was just so depressed when I was first diagnosed, and it's probably that way for a good year or more. So it was like I had just like amazing friends that just helped lifted me mentally out of that slump. So that is one thing. And then second, I think the work that I do with Kyla Cares, it it has just helped me to just be hopeful. It's helped me to remain positive. I mean, if I'm working with families, I don't feel like if I'm coming in like with a sad face and I don't really believe it, like, sharing. A lot of families that I connect with, they are in like terrible spaces. So, and I've been doing this long enough now where I've seen families like transition from that to being able to care for themselves and just happy and living life. And diabetes is just something they have to deal with, like we all do. But so I know what's possible. So when I meet a family and they're in that state, I'm like, just give it a minute. You're gonna be okay.
No,
So yeah, I feel good about the work we're doing here,
I
and
feel great about the work you're doing because ahead of asking that question, I already knew what you were going to like partially what you were going to say because I get asked that question often, like at least every other day. Someone's asking me, Will, how are you able to navigate the things that you're doing while living with type 1 diabetes? Because I'm always dealing with burnout and I let them know part of the healing journey is not only healing and helping myself, but helping others. I said, truly, when I'm helping others, like something takes over me and I'm putting my all into making sure everyone is along this journey of positive growth and
yes,
mindset together. Being able to help someone who's struggled with A1Cs in the teens for years, get their A1Cs down, live healthy lifestyles, have healthy children, all of those things,
yeah.
like it just takes over and lessens the burden. Like burnout, I'm a black man in America. Come on now. We know that there are not only heavy loads placed on these shoulders, but also like, again, when we talk about mental health, that support isn't always there. That's why when I come about someone like yourself and we're able to have conversations even off air, that does help me in my own growth. And it truly benefits me knowing that you yourself, I mean, like I said, you're my brother. We're able to have those conversations, open up that dialect that once was not even peered through. People wouldn't even pull the blinds to see what was on that other side.
Right,
But
right. Yeah, man, it's important that, especially as Black men, that we began talking to each other and, when needed, professionals, and not being ashamed to engage in these conversations or to seek help when you're struggling. Because, like, mental health and diabetes, like, is so important. Like, if you're just not there mentally, Like, you're not going to take care of yourself, and that's just how it works. So like, we have to make sure that we're just, I mean, yeah, we just have to make sure that we are able to just pay attention to ourselves in that way and focus on maintaining a sense of a positive outlook on life, and just working towards just taking care of ourselves.
I mean, we know that it's a huge torrential downpour going on outside. No man is safe from. Like,
Oh,
we
yes.
all know that, but we can be each other's umbrella.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Like, we have to lean in on, especially like, our support systems of support. It's like so important to have that and to be connected to other people in that way, so that, in times when life gets difficult, you have a place to go, and there's a there's a way to get back on track. Like, regardless what's going on, like this election and all the noise that's happening around it. I live in upstate New York, and like the town where I live is pretty liberal, but it's a small town as well. So everything else around it is, MAGA country. And so, like, regardless of all of that noise, I'm just happy to be alive. I'm focused on like what I'm doing, and, just things that are important to me, which are like friends that I love, family, and just being healthy and spreading this message so that other people can do the same.
Before you just started saying that about like I'm living upstate New York and the things you see, I had already wrote down confidence and I circled it because it's almost like I got this connection with you and I can already feel it that like you have this confidence and I know this confidence because you had this confidence even before you were diagnosed with diabetes. Like you were out like you I don't where did you go to school for like studying theater?
Went to University of Oklahoma.
Great place. Diversity, confidence. See?
Yes. Yeah.
Confidence is the key. And when we're diagnosed with this chronic health condition, I mean, our confidence does take a hit. But once
Yes.
we're able to gather and own it, our
Mm-hmm.
confidence like shoots through the roof. Like you thought you were
Yes.
confident before.
Yeah, man. It's the
Not
truth.
like there's nothing you can't do now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And confidence is what's needed, like, especially like for many people who are having horrible experiences in the clinician's office. Like, when you're needing to self advocate for yourself, like, that's the thing you tap into. Um, is that confidence, because even with dealing with like prescriptions and having to call the insurance company, and all the things we have to deal with managing this disease, like, that confidence definitely comes in and helps to push you towards being able to access the things you need to access, even when there's a barrier in place to try and keep you from accessing it. So yeah, I thank my mom for that. She's passed like 2 years ago, but my mom was like a beast with just instilling within me like a sense of self-worth, a sense of self-assurance, a sense that I can accomplish the things that I put my mind to, and she always supported me in that. And so I thank her for that.
Big ups to Kyle's mom. While we're here in this space, we gift flowers to, I'm gifting flowers to yourself and your confidence in building the communities and everything that you're doing. But also we give flowers to those who have paved the way for us to be where we are today, even in transition, because
Mm-hmm.
no matter what, right here and right here, mama is always going to be there.
Yes. Oh,
Look,
yes. Yeah.
sometimes you look in the mirror and you might see like a reflection of her, right? Like, mama, like
It's the truth,
yeah,
man.
right. And it makes you smile. Those smiles that are continuing to grow and continuously pouring out in community, or a direct reflection of her lessons and teachings, her care. So
Yes,
yeah, big
yes,
shout outs to your
yes.
mom.
Oh man, thanks for that.
Yeah. 9 years ago, Kyle, you're about to be in year 10 of living with type 1 diabetes. 9 years ago, your life changed drastically, dramatically,
Yes.
financially. um, 9 years ago, but today, going into year 10, you're bigger, bigger than that diagnosis.
Yeah, man, so much bigger than that
So
diagnosis. I
much
mean,
bigger.
it's crazy. 10 years, how fast time has like flown by, and
Time goes by
um,
fast when you're having fun.
that part. I mean, all the things I've learned, and I mean, all the people that I have like connected with, and it. I mean, it's changed the entire trajectory of my life. Like before type 1 diabetes, I was just all about my singing career and dancing and acting and auditioning and looking for the next gig. And I mean, I haven't been on an audition in years. It's like not even, I'm just, yeah, Kyla Cares is like my full time gig. You know, Lion King calls me back every, now and again, and I'll do the show, which is fun. It's great to keep like that connection going with them, especially with the kids. They love Lion King, so it just helps making connecting with the kids so much more easier. But yeah, it's just totally changed like the trajectory of my career and sort of everything about my life.
Right. We know
And
like with go ahead.
don't regret any of it.
None. We know that I mean with the career in entertainment, sometimes it's like, okay, how am I going to make sure that I keep this going? Like, no matter what, that talent is always going to be there.
Mhm.
But today you have a talent that you've garnered from experience, lived experience that
Yeah,
truly is going to benefit yourself and hundreds, thousands, millions. We're talking about sustainable change. Again,
man.
equitable growth.
Yes, yeah. That is the dream. I see it. I'll receive it. And like we're working towards it. You know, some of the conversations that I'm having with like researchers and scientists and physicians, it blows my mind. One, that I'm able to like have these conversations, that I over the 10 years have gained enough knowledge about the disease, and that I can, engage with them in meaningful ways. So that's mind blowing to me because I don't have a science background, have never been interested in it, have never done well in it in school. So to be in this space is wild. Did not see it coming, but here we are.
You don't have the science background. I love science and research. Like that is my thing. Oh man, that's partially why I did become a media literacy educator,
Yes.
understanding that the media truly is today more influential and impactful on a child's
Yes.
development 80% as opposed to the other 20%
Yeah.
that is like family, friends, socially. Like the
Yes.
media is it, and
Hmm.
there's a great science behind that.
Yeah. Yeah. Truth. That is the truth. Yeah. The impact that media has on kids and the way in which kids learn today, it's totally evolved from when I was coming up, when you were coming up, and we're definitely tapping into that, like with our programming. We recently were awarded a significant grant through the Helmsley Foundation, which has been amazing because it's just allowed us to be more consistent with our programming. And, we hired out a team, our events and are growing. We hosted 2 events this past summer, one in New York with New York City Public Schools. It was our first engagement with the school system, like for the public. Over 350 families came out and participated. We hosted the Kyla Cares Cookout in New Orleans, which is all about fun and music and good food and games and activities for the kids to get them moving. And we had the same thing there. Almost 300 families came out to that. We're expanding our event platform, partnering with hospital systems around the country. So we're doing one next year in Orlando. I think Cincinnati, Cincinnati Children's Hospital, and also in Indianapolis. So, it's growing. I'll have I'm excited because in addition to the Helmsley grant we received, which was $1.4 million, I will be making an announcement in the next 2 weeks about another grant that we just received, which supports our diabetes technology grant, which is a grant that we use to help support people wanting to access diabetes technology, but they need financial assistance. So we just got some significant funding for that, which is I'm really excited about, because we also have partnerships with the diabetes technology manufacturers that will allow us to just make the most of that money and stretch it out in a way that will be impactful for the community. So, and people needing help.
Kyle, we're from the same era, I think. What Jay-Z say? Take over, breaks over.
Yes,
for real.
yes,
and all you're doing is showing love and showering people with that gift of love. That's what you're doing. Because Kyle Banks, Kyler cares. Seriously, you put that together, brother.
Oh man, thank you. Well, I'm glad that love is the sensation that is vibrating from what we're doing over here, because I vibe with that for sure.
Right. And as we do wind down, I must ask you this, as I ask everyone, because I know myself, living with type 1 diabetes for the last 21, almost 22 years. I know if given a chance, I would give it away, seriously, because I know that I would be able to do so much more, so much greater, especially with time and time management.
Right.
So I must ask you, good brother Kyle, on that day, a fully functional cure is here, where everyone in the DOC contacts you, is like, Kyle, diabetes is gone. We all woke up with this steady blood sugar 80. It's not moving. We put our foot on the floor. We brushed our teeth. It hasn't changed. We're good. On that day, you find out, Kyle, that you are cured. What do you do?
Maybe pack up Kyla Cares and go find me an audition. Yes, could focus on other things. That would be amazing.
It will be amazing.
Yes.
Because Kyla Cares won't go nowhere. You'll always care. The foundation is there.
I guess. Yes.
The foundation is there, no matter what.
Oh well. Yeah. Thanks, man. This was great. It's always great talking to you, and
always.
I vibe off of your energy, in what you're doing, and the support that you're establishing in the community. I think is so beautiful. And I speak about you all the time. It's just like really impressive how you're able to connect people in a way where they're like engaging with one another. So, and like it's active. Like the things you're hosting is kind of crazy in the most beautiful way.
I love us all. And like I tell my children, I've told them this from day one, that although you are my children, your importance in this world is no greater than anyone else's. Like, we're all equally important. So I know upon my diagnosis, I wasn't given the resources that were needed.
Mm-hmm.
And that started with community.
Right.
That's what we're here for.
Right. Right.
And on that note, Kyle, thank you for joining me on the Chronically Well podcast, where we have real conversations with community that needs to be heard. One Kyle Banks and Kyler Cares, you are someone that truly needs to be heard. Thank you.
Thank you, Will. Appreciate you, man.
Appreciate you, my G.